Good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Ambazonians. It's a privilege to come to you again today with a very, very special presentation. And as I come to you, I want you to please get on your groups, and invite every Ambazonian out there to join this broadcast. This is a very, very, very important broadcast, and I would love to see this platform saturated, filled up. I am talking about Facebook platform and of course other social media platforms. So please, I would invite you, go ahead and do that as quickly as you can. I am going to do some brief announcements or commentary while waiting for you to populate the platform. And after that, I will then come to you with a presentation proper. I want to say again, good evening to Ground Zero that is watching live by way of ABC, satellite. And I also want to welcome all of you who are joining in the diaspora from different parts of the world. We are in a very, very precarious moment in our revolution, and there is a scripture in the Bible that says the kingdom suffered violence, and the violent take it with force or by force. This is such a moment in this revolution. Ladies and gentlemen, the destiny of this revolution lies in our palms, not in anybody's palms. Not in the palms of the international community, not in the palms of any individual, but in our palms. All of us, Ambazonians. Again, thank you for joining. Go ahead, ladies and gentlemen, and hit your share button so that I can come to you with this presentation proper. I like to acknowledge those of you who are joining. Again, I want to see the numbers rise to 1,000 within 15 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, we can do that. I see the numbers are rising really, really quick. I appreciate that. Immediately you join or your friend join, ask them please to go ahead and hit the share button. We want to have at least 1,000 people for me to bring you this presentation. It is that important and that crucial. And as you join, let me know what you think in your heart. You know, so much has gone under the water between yesterday, yesterday, Wednesday, and today, Thursday. As you join, leave me a comment. For you, those of you joining on Facebook, leave me a comment on your, leave me a comment, let me know what you are thinking in your heart. But again, it's a priority. Go ahead, hit your share button as you join. The moment we hit 1,000, I will come to you with this presentation proper. Okay. All right. Again, this is a very, very special state of the revolution. State of the revolution presentation. We want to have as many as possible saturating this platform for this presentation. Man David, I see you. Ingum Ta, I see you. Say today, not today. I don't know what you mean, Ta, but thanks for that. And Tabit Evie, say the same thing, today, not today. Kafiash Bella, watching. Von Nelson, I see you. Christian Amongwa is also watching. Prince de la Paix, I don't know how to speak French, so I can't pronounce this French word, I'm sorry. But at least I see Prince de la Paix or something like that. Amber Bolifamba, thank you for joining. Mambo Peña, thank you. Diodone Tumenta, thank you also for joining. I like the pace at which these numbers are climbing. Please, in the next 13 minutes, let's hit the 1,000 number so I can come to you with this presentation. Again, this is very, very, very important, critical announcement or presentation. and I would love as many Amazonians as possible to get it from my mouth. So as you join, please do me a favor, do yourself a favor, do Ground Zero a favor. Hit your share button, get it on your WhatsApp group, send the link to all of your WhatsApp groups and all your Facebook groups. Let them get the links too. And one thing which I did confusingly, I advertised 6 p.m. somewhere, and somewhere else I advertised 7 p.m. It was an error. So for those who are still waiting for 7 p.m., they may not know I am here already. Those who were waiting for 6 p.m., I guess they are here by now. So please put out the link. Let those who are expecting for 7 p.m. to know that I am alive. Not live, but I am alive and very, very strong. All right. James Harrison, always here. John Mvondo, good to see you, sir. Got no volume. Is that true? Somebody says got no volume. Please, if you can hear me, let me know you can hear me out there. I believe you should be able to hear me. There's just no reason why you should have no volume either. So let me know you can hear me, and let me know the sound quality is good enough, please. I see Joseph Inyenmo. I see you. Alino White. I see you. Julius Ambe, always also here on this platform. Profre J. Kells, thank you for joining, sir. Steve Dove, I see you. Say, everyone is important in this revolution. You are very correct, sir. And Magdalene Doe, always ever here. Thank you, ma'am. God bless you. And I see Anne in there. She will never miss it if I'm the one here. I know that, Anne. All right. Patrick Mbioda, I see you. Victor my bishop, I see you. Prince Akere, the one and only Prince Akere, the Ekemba of Inewe. I see you, sir. I see also in Tiandop, I missed the last name, Kimby Burnett, I see you. Ladies and gentlemen, you are doing a fabulous job in hitting that share button. The numbers are rising very, very rapidly. Keep on doing that. For those of you who are just joining, you hit that share button, because Ground Zero is waiting for you to hit 1,000 people on this screen so I can come to you with this presentation. All right. D. Lawrence Ambaza is watching. Ambang Franca, thank you for joining. Sheila, wow, Sheila, your last name, I can't pronounce it. All right. Indo Emmanuel. Stephen Chofo, I see you. Ateno Valley, thank you for joining. Harry Taylor, I see you. Again, let me know, ladies and gentlemen, that the volume is good, the sound quality is good. Somebody, I guess everybody is getting it, as I would have seen a lot of complaints on the screen here, but there seem to be none, only one that I saw. So I assume that the sound quality is as good as it should be. Okay. Tiandop Utiambo Wumuka. This must be in Kambe or Bansot name, because they have Russian names too. Sometimes they get really, really tough pronouncing. But thanks for joining. Pen Mokom, I see you. Divo, I see you, sir. Bakoma Titus Elangwe, thank you for joining. Reg Inyo Silver, Mako Indile, thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. I see Kimby Burnett joining too. Union Progress, something like that. So the volume is okay. Thank you. And I see now also able on the secretary. Kuku Dablings, thank you for joining, ma'am. Nkungim David is always here. Says, short-lived the war. The war will be short-lived, ladies and gentlemen. The war will be short-lived. The enemy is in trouble. Really, really in trouble. we should not the least be concerned with all the distractions that we find out here. That is one of the tools in the hand of the enemy, to use it not only to divide us, but to distract us. We must focus in prosecuting this war. Nothing should stop us. Thank you. Amber Brittany, I see you. Mami Eyes. Secretary Chris, you are a blessing. Thank you, ma'am. I lost the rest. I missed the rest of the part. I see also Che Evaristus Inji. I see Zoe Anderson. We are behind our AIP. Good to hear that, sir. Joy on up. I see you. I see you. Ransomer Natum. I remember this name. Always here on the platform. Ladies and gentlemen, you are doing a marvelous job growing the numbers. We have less than 400 people to go. Probably in less than, I think about 7 minutes now. That is awesome. That is wonderful. Go ahead, ladies and gentlemen, as you join, hit your share button. Hit your share button as you join. I want to remind you before I come into the announcement that I need to make. I probably will be back here live tomorrow to announce the new cabinet of your interim government. I guess probably that would be later in the day, probably around 8 or 9 p.m. Boya time or Amba time. So again, I will be out here tomorrow to read the new cabinet, and I expect you to join. And also, I would like to make a few comments on 20th May celebrations coming up in French Cameroon. In one of these days, I'm going to do an elaborate presentation on what 20th May is all about, or was all about. But what is important, we know today, is that 20th May has no significance. 20th May has no significance in the history of the Southern Cameroons. And so, 20th May is one of those La République du Cameroon events that we have banned taking place in Ambazonia. It was one of those days in which they assimilated us after they annexed and colonized us. 20th May was the day. They want us to believe we became independent. French Cameroon and Southern Cameroon became one country. It's a lie from the pit of hell, from those who craft lies for French Cameroon. And so we have banned, this interim government has banned 20th May from taking place anywhere in our territory. And I want to speak particularly to our chiefs out there, whom Bernard Bilai, I like to call him Bernard Bilai, he be lie, or he be lie, no be Bilai, Okalia Bilai, or Bernard Bilai, that is his name. Call him by this name from this day going forward. Now, Bernard Okalia Bilai, he be lie say, our chiefs, they have always gone out on these occasions carrying placards and marching on the platform to celebrate the National Day. I don't know where Bilai saw that or read that. Growing up in the Southern Cameroons, I do not remember a single day in which our chiefs march or stage a march carrying placards. Forget about placards. Just a simple march. A simple march. I do not remember growing up in our country seeing chiefs, even third-class chiefs, marching on 20th May or 11th of February. It never happened. And so for Bernard Okalia Belai to ask our chiefs to go out and march, and not only march, but to march carrying placards, is what I would describe, I would describe it, the lowest of lows that the government of French Cameroon sees our people, not just our chiefs, but our people. If most of you read the book Ferdinand Oyono's Old Man and the Meda, what Okalia asked our chiefs to do tantamounts to asking the old man to go wait at the community center and wait for the colonial masters to show up, or parade and march in front of the colonial masters. I hope that Okalia Belai has let Chief Mosonge, I think Mosonge is a chief, I hope he will be carrying his placards and marching in front of Okalia Belai. I hope Chief Mukete is ready to carry his placard to march before Okala Belai. I hope they are ready to do this. It is very, very unfortunate, ladies and gentlemen, that in the midst of a war that we did not provoke, these people continue to provoke us. They have continued to provoke us. The other day we learned of Musonge Committee deliberating over banning the word Francophone and Anglophones. What nonsense! This is what we call cosmetic dressing. So they think that our people have died over the name Anglophone and the name Francophone? Is that what they think our people have died for or are dying for? It is no beginner. May they stop wasting their resources, their money, and address the real issues. The international community and all of us in this interim government, all of you out there, Ambazonians, are saying we want an inclusive dialogue with Ambazonians, with this interim government. And they are over there talking about changing of names, or not even names, changing of titles. Anglophones, making a decree that bans the word Anglophone and Francophone. Is that what solves a problem? Musonge should be ashamed of himself that he will spend hours sitting on that conference table and talking about changing some titles to please us, to get us to live with French Cameroon. It will never happen. The only thing we need, what we need in this conflict, is a free and independent Southern Cameroon called Ambazonia. Nothing will stop us from getting there. And ladies and gentlemen, take this from me. No one person, no one individual or group of individuals would stop us from realizing this goal. It is very, very important. So ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you. The number, we are almost there, probably in about 15 minutes. We are almost there. We have less than 200 people to go before I come to you with this presentation. But let me also comment on something that this is actually a piece of information. We have United Nations human rights experts who are in La République du Cameroon. We also learned that Commonwealth human rights experts arrived Cameroon, I think 2 days ago. And they are demanding to know who caused the amputations of innocent people in Moyoka and in Bamenda. And intelligence coming to us says what La République du Cameroon is trying to do is to pick up some innocent Ambazonians, force them to confess that they did the amputations, the dismemberment of those individuals. And in fact, let me also add this. There is no evidence that those people whose heads were chopped up and we saw them lying on the street, there is no evidence those people were Cameroon military or Cameroon soldiers. Because there is a video that I have in my possession. We see in that video, I will present it here one of these days. In that video that I have in my keeping, we see French Cameroon soldiers killing innocent Ambazonians. I think that is in Moyoka. And they are cutting off their heads. After they cut off their heads, they then put a BIRO uniform T-shirt on them, so that after the picture goes out, the video goes out, the world will believe that Ambazonians are cutting off the heads, or are killing Cameroon soldiers and cutting off their heads. I have that footage where, again, French Cameroon soldiers are killing our people, cutting off their heads, putting BIRO T-shirts on them to make it appear as if Ambazonians are killing Cameroon soldiers and amputating or cutting off their heads. I have that footage. So I say this to say, there is absolutely no evidence that what happened in Moyoka and in Bamenda with the chopping off of those two heads was done by Ambazonians, and there is also no proof that those two individuals were Cameroon soldiers. I have every reason to believe right now that those would have been innocent civilians that French Cameroon killed, chopped off their heads, and then put their uniforms on them to appear as if that is what Ambazonians are doing. We are not that inhuman. Our restoration forces are not that inhuman. They will not do that. So, ladies and gentlemen, a trick that La République du Cameroon is trying to use right now with the United Nations human rights guys in their country, with the Commonwealth human rights team in Yaoundé, you will hear one of these days, some people will come out and confess they were the ones. They were Amber Boys, as they will call it. In fact, how many of you know we don't have anything like Amber Boys? We have restoration forces. We don't have Amber Boys. We have restoration forces. Remember, we have both men, boys, and girls fighting, defending our homeland. And so we have never called them Amber Boys. When you hear of Amber Boys, you're hearing of Paul Atanganji Boys. You are hearing of Patrick Ekema Boys. You are hearing of maybe Musonge Boys. We don't have Amber Boys. We have restoration forces. So one of these days you will see some. They will be paraded out there in videos, and they will be confessing, telling you that they were the ones who killed La République soldiers and chopped off their heads. They will do so. Why? Because La République du Cameroon would need that testimony, to try to nail us before the international community. Ladies and gentlemen, every one of us has to be a fighter. Every one of us has to be a fighter. We have to be ready to debunk every lie, every pretense that French Cameroon puts out there. And let me say this, we have done a tremendous job, all of us Ambazonians. We have done a tremendous job in telling the world community of our case, of what we are going through. In spite of their money, they pay a PRO firm, a lobby firm in New York for the amount of $400,000 a month. They pay another one in Washington, D.C., the same amount a month. They pay a lobby firm in London, so much money every month. They have not succeeded to tell their story. With you sitting on Twitter, with you sitting on Facebook, with we writing letters, and I see other Ambazonians holding seminars and presenting our case to the international community. It's a wonderful collective job that each and every one of us is doing. Of course, we know there are a few out there who are detractors, but you know what? We are in the majority, and we are doing a marvelous job. We must continue. Again, we must continue to tell the world our story, because that is what is going to save us. That is what is going to deliver us. And we are almost there. Ladies and gentlemen, we have less than 5 people to go to this presentation. I want to thank you and thank Ground Zero for joining. This is again a very, very, very important presentation, and I can't take your questions today, but I believe one of these days when I come back to you, I shall be taking your questions. And that said, as I go live and bring you the presentation, I'd like you to continue to hit the share button. Continue to hit the share button as I bring you the presentation. And again, this presentation has to do with a statement that Sesekou, Julius Ayoktabe, put out yesterday. I know there are still a lot of doubts out there. Many people still believe that that statement did not come from him. But as I come to you, I can assure you that the statement came from Sesekou. Once more, fellow Ambazonians, good evening. On Wednesday, May 2nd, two statements purportedly written by Sesekou, Julius Ayoktabe, circulated widely on social media. The first of the statements allegedly dissolved the interim government, while the second tacitly revoked the first, suggesting that the first was a bogus statement from a mass author other than Sesekou. While we have been able to authenticate the veracity of the first statement as coming from Sesekou Ayoktabe Julius, we cannot vouch same for the second statement. It was a forged disclaimer bearing Sesekou's signature. Again, it is important I emphasize that this is only as far as the second letter is concerned. After reading the content of Sesekou's statement, the interim government, through the communications department, precisely, yours truly, had a lengthy conversation with Sesekou, and he formally confirmed that the first statement actually was written and circulated by him. He denied, however, writing the disclaimer that came after. This is very important so that allegations of the statement being the work of someone else or some detractors are put to rest. Again, Sesekou has confirmed he wrote the statement. He, however, would not agree to withdraw that statement after an appeal for him to do so. We can only remind ourselves of Sesekou's own words that this revolution does not depend on any one person. So members of cabinet of the interim government held an emergency meeting to deliberate over the contents of Sesekou's statement and its implication on the revolution and the health of the interim government. We came out with the following observations. Number one, the contents of the said document were neither discussed with the interim government, nor has the document been served on the interim government. Indeed, it is not even directed to anyone in the interim government. The interim government would have therefore ignored the document, but for the fact that a closer reading of the contents if not properly analyzed and commented on, may irreparably damage the revolution and the Ambazonian quest for their own free country. The document essentially does two things. Number one, it purports to dissolve the interim government of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. And number two, it advocates for the reconstruction of the government that was operating at the time of the abduction of Sesekou and others. This interim government rejects and declares that statement and its content null and void for the following reasons. 1. The attempt to dissolve the interim government, unfortunately, mirrors the decision of the widely condemned and discredited APNC conference that was attended by some insignificant 25 persons in Philadelphia in February. At the urging of an overwhelming majority of you Ambazonians, the interim government resisted pressures from Sesekou and others to support and to attend that conference. The outcome of that conference dissolving the interim government ever before Sesekou came out with his statement in one of his resolutions was also widely condemned and rejected by you Ambazonians, except for Sesekou. He did not reach out to stand with the people of Ambazonia in rejecting the unfounded and discredited decision of the APNC. This new alleged decision of Sesekou Ayuktabe dissolving the interim government is inappropriately insensitive to the popular will of the people of Ambazonia. And this is very unfortunate and regrettable. Number 2, the timing of the alleged decision should be of grave concern to all Ambazonians, in particular, our ground zero forces and the civilian population of Ambazonia, who are systematically being massacred, wiped out in the ongoing genocide by French Cameroon. It is disturbing that the alleged decision is coming shortly after the historic Berlin conference where Ambazonian stakeholders in their hundreds from across the globe met in a 3-day conclave to deliberate on strategies to intensify the liberation of our country through increased overt and covert ground zero operational support for the sustenance and protection of our civilian population, including our internally displaced and refugee population. Ladies and gentlemen, the conference ended with overwhelming support for your interim government, which is a recognized platform on which the liberation objectives of our people is being realized. Number 3, the decision is coming at a time, Sesekou's decision is coming at a time when French Cameroon is suffering intense diplomatic defeat and its genocidal regime is cracking and imploding. The combined effect of the diplomatic efforts mounted from several fronts by the interim government and intense ground zero action are beginning to bring the enemy on its knees. The document allegedly dissolving the interim government rather provides the enemy with evidence to prove to the international community, insisting on an all-inclusive dialogue without preconditions, that Ambazonia no longer no longer has an interlocutor to talk to and to negotiate with. Number 4, the interim government has mobilized the population of Amazonia to boycott the so-called 20th May celebration and to intensify military action to kick the enemy out of our territory. This decision demobilizes ground zero forces and creates doubt. Sesekou's decision, it creates doubt in the minds of our people and the international community about the ability of leaders held in captivity of the most sanguinary genocidal regime in Africa to preside over their destiny from captivity. On the reasons allegedly presented by Sesekou for dissolving the interim government, the acting president presented portion to the Constitution of Amazonia, submitted a list of nominees to the Restoration Council to vet for their potential appointment into the reformed interim government. That list was unfortunately leaked out to the social media. Sesekou purports that, or Sesekou says, or reacting to that list as one of the reasons for dissolving the interim government. His decision goes against the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Amazonia, and that decision must be rejected. The Restoration Council can express reservations on any of the proposed appointees and send back the list to the interim government for implementation or proposal for substitutes. That process is ongoing. The Restoration Council has not decided yet. The alleged dissolving of the interim government without citing any constitutional provision in support of such a sweeping exercise of power, when a constitutional procedure of separation of powers and accountability is being exercised, must again be rejected. The alleged misappropriation of funds is still undergoing a constitutional oversight by the Restoration Council too. The alleged action by Sesekou is without constitutional authority. The interim government pledged that the final verification process of the audit will be made public to the people of Amazonia for the purposes of transparency, and that will be done. The alleged decision of Sesekou is not founded on any due process of sound governance and accountability. Sesekou has not demonstrated that the purported structures he allegedly is reactivating, while it functioned, showed any degree of accountability that he can count on to convince Amazonians that it will perform better than the interim government on any of the critical strategies for the liberation of our homeland. The alleged decisions, made by Sesekou are inappropriate and incapable of being implemented. The interim government wasn't a creation of one man. Again, listen to me, ladies and gentlemen. This interim government wasn't a creation of one man or a stroke of the pen, and no one man can by the stroke of the pen dissolve the interim government. If Amazonians do not reject this kind of strongman conduct, it means that we can wake up one morning or one day and be told that the revolution is over by one man. There is no mechanism in place to implement this decision by Sesekou. It is bad for our people, and it is bad for Sesekou himself. The interim government reiterates that Sesekou Ayoktabi is the face. He remains the face of the revolution, and should be released with other Amazonians held in French Cameroon prisons without delay and without any conditions. The principled position taken by the interim government that he cannot exercise the administrative, executive, and operational governance from the detention cells of French Cameroon murderous genocidal enemy is unshakable. That cannot be done. No one should equate the situation of revolutionary political leaders and that of a leader whose country is facing extermination and genocide. Ye simply cannot govern from jail under these circumstances. The interim government will constantly brief and seek the opinion of Sesekou Tabe where appropriate, but will do so under circumstances that doing so will not negatively affect his personal circumstances and that of the people of the Federal Republic of Amazonia. We call upon all ground commanders and restoration forces to remain strong, courageous, and resilient as ever before, and to have no doubt that this interim government, through the counties and the local government areas, is going to do everything to support their sacrifices. All the restoration forces are warned against manipulators who will call or show up and promise money for them to work, for you to work with them. Ignore such and focus on the work in your county and in your local government area. To ground zero, we urge you to entertain no doubt in the ability of this interim government to prosecute this war to the end. Remain steadfast, equally refuse to be manipulated, and please pray for us for wisdom. Pray for grace and God's strength. To the diaspora, we urge you to stand with your county and your local government areas. Join them, support it by paying your dues and giving advice to those who run the affairs there. If you fail, your county fails, and ultimately ground zero fails. But how can we fail? Seeing the degree of carnage, genocide being perpetrated out there against our people. We cannot fail. There is just no way we can fail. Not right now that we see victory in the horizon. The enemy is so suddenly mad because he smells chance of victory. He smells our long walk to freedom in Boya. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hold strong and stand strong, and remember, we fight a just cause, and God is on our side. Short live the war, long live the Federal Republic of Amazonia. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in. That is all I had for you. God bless, and again, good night.